We are back and we're happy because something good happened in the past couple days. Tell them about it, Chase.
More like last 24 hours.
Something like that.
Keegan figured out the cure for low T.
I'm leaving. This is done. Sick of this podcast.
Skate.
No, low
Yeah,
T is
no.
the thing that sticks.
Uh,
Uh, but
yeah, something else exciting happened. It was a pretty crazy pivotal moment in the election cycle, and I stayed up as long as I possibly could
bro, I was literally
watching.
passing out on the phone with you.
Yeah, I know. I was sitting there trying to give Keegan updates and play-by-plays of like, all right, they're getting ready to announce the next date, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, you care about democracy so much
It
that
was one of
you're
those
just gonna
things
go
where
to bed.
you definitely, you're just like, hey, I'm too nervous watching this, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I just want to wake up and look in the morning. And, I didn't even want to watch because, first off, at a certain point, it's just boring. It's just oh my
I was
God, more
locked
points
in.
here, more points here, more points here. Like, it's just hard to focus on it. And I have horrible ADHD, but I was also nervous because I didn't want to see it start to go bad. I feel like I could be a bad omen on the whole situation. So I tried to stay out of it. And Chase was just giving me literally play by play. We'd like literally not talk for like 2 straight minutes, just sit there in dead silence on the phone. And I'd be like, so what's happening now? And he'd just give me a little update, another little update. And until this morning, we woke up and, you know, DJT was president, dog. And I personally think, hey, maybe I'll end up being wrong if you disagree with me. If you disagree with me and I'm wrong, rub it in my face. I don't care. But for the short term, in terms of reaching a good goal, at least it wasn't mine to reach, but mine was reached. I'm just very happy. I literally went to the gas pump, and it's the day after gas was $2.50. And it's just like I just feel like things are going to be better.
Well, I mean, just that. It's pretty amazing. Like Trump is not in office yet. He's president elect. Hasn't been able to call any shots, hasn't been able to do anything yet. But just the fact of the decision that was made last night into the early morning, the market opening this morning, I'm pretty sure was one of the highest it has ever opened at in history.
And the
I
market
mean,
doesn't even do drugs.
it doesn't even do it, but it was super
It
high
was so
today.
high.
It was very impressive, and it spanned the spectrum for all the different stocks, investments, all that stuff, and I was watching that like a hawk pretty much most of the day today. But I mean, it was just insane because, once Trump officially gets into office, he's going to do a lot of deregulation, less restriction, freeing up the economy. So you can just see the trajectory and the trend that it's wanting to go to.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things. It's like a dog that was, like a husky in the Siberian, wilderness or up in
This
Alaska, and
election was kind of like a husky, not a
it's
shih
been
tzu.
chained up. It has been chained up, prevented, like not able to do what it was meant to do, right? And it has all this pent up energy, and it's just like waiting for the moment towards finally let loose and able to run. And when it does, that sucker takes off like nothing ever before. That is what is about to happen to this entire economy. I mean, and today was just a glimpse of that. Trump's not even in office, and we're seeing one of the highest record openings for the stock market in a very, very, very long time. I don't know for sure, potentially ever. So I think that's saying something. I mean, I think the market's saying it likes Trump.
I think you could have used a better analogy, but the point was made. Hey,
It was a
just
pretty
hey,
darn good
trying
one.
to keep you honest here. Trying to keep you honest. We're best friends.
It was a dang good one.
It was not that good.
It was
It was a
fantastic.
stretch. It was a
Not at
stretch.
all.
I mean, like the fact you use husky, like there's not that like you could have used any breed of dog and it would have fit. Husky didn't even really. And
Husky, like a sled dog. It's like keeping a dog that's meant to pull sleds that has a ton of energy
you're
locked
putting
up
that in
and
now.
chained.
Now you're trying to make it better because I called you out and I'm keeping you
Is
honest.
this your low T acting up?
It is. You know what? It's acting up and you're not acting right. One of it's got to get fixed.
I can tell which one.
to you.
No.
Use better analogies.
You
Anyways, we
want to?
love each other. We love each other. This is a lover's quarrel. It
This
happens.
is a couple disagreement that we've had
Yes.
once or twice before
I mean,
in our
who's counting?
23 years.
Oh yeah. Dude, has it been 23 years?
We were 8 years old, right? There's
How old are we now?
22 years. 23
22
years?
years. I don't know.
We're
Do
31 now. And we met when we were 8. So
you remember the
23?
month? I
23
bet you
years.
do.
No, I don't.
You don't?
Do you?
No, not at all. But I was
Oh.
during it was definitely during summer because actually maybe it wasn't because the first time we ever came to your house, I used to the way Chase and I met is our dads played college football together at the Air Force Academy, and then they obviously both went into the Air Force and both flew A-10s. So they were good friends as younger men, getting into their lives, and that's how Chase and I met. Is they said, "Hey, come to Dallas. We'd love to see you guys." They both had kids at the time, and we went. And I just remember your dad driving up in his golf cart with Brenna on there, and I was just like, "Dude, they have a golf cart."
It's so sick, bro.
I was already so jealous. I was like, golf carts to us were like the coolest thing in the world because it
Uh,
was just something you could drive. It was so much fun. And dude, we used to. One thing I've learned getting older that my dad instilled in me is the habit of not touching other people's stuff. Because my gosh, you get one scratch, you get one little anything on it, that turns from a best friend to a best person that's going to call you every day to figure out where that money's coming from real quick.
yeah, and that's how our relationship formed. And he scratched the golf cart, and
I didn't scratch the golf cart.
we've been trying to get money ever since. So.
Yeah, this is still $500 that they're going after, and they just haven't given up. And I just keep on prolonging it, saying next week. But there
Yep.
was that one time that it was so funny because this was like a movie scene that no one that it was happening to knew that they were being watched, but everyone was being watched. I was on the golf cart, Chase's golf cart, with my sister, my older sister Sadie, and Sadie just tried something. I don't know what it was. She pulled a sharp turn, and
Yeah.
she nailed my dad's truck and put a dent
Oh,
like a foot wide in it because it was the bumper of a golf cart to
I was thinking of a different occasion. I thought it was Sadie or Sophie that did that, or
no, it was
this one
Sadie.
I'm thinking of.
But the thing is I was in the golf cart with her. And as soon as it happened, I didn't know Chad, Chase's dad, Miss Tammy, my mom. Luckily, my dad wasn't because he would have actually come out. They were watching, just happened to be by the window and saw it. As soon as that metal touched the metal, I jumped off that golf cart and ran the opposite direction. I didn't even stop to be like, "Are you okay?" I wasn't like, "Dude, what are we gonna say?" I was like, "Nope, I'm not. I wasn't driving.
Your
I'm not
problem,
part of
not
this
mine.
situation." Yep, I was just like, it was like one of those times where you see someone like on the sidewalk getting mugged or something like that, and you're like, "The light's green."
Yeah, I gotta go. Every
Crap.
man for himself.
Yeah.
Keegan was like,
So
"Whoop whoop! Police are coming! Run!"
I was just like, well, the police is my dad, and the police has a leather belt, and that leather belt likes the touch of my butt. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, I ran pretty quick. That was just a random story, pulled it out the back pocket.
I heard that belt started to smell like you after a while. Was that true or?
That's such a like that's a funny joke, but at the same time, it makes you go like, ugh.
We'll leave that to the audience
Why do
to
you smell
interpret.
like ass? Well, let's just say I'm
I'll
not gonna
tell
say
you
that.
why, son.
I've been hitting my son's ass. It's like, oh, never mind.
My gosh.
Sorry,
That's
I'm sorry, guys. We can cut that out.
no, we're gonna keep that one. I think
We
they
can
would
keep
all
that.
thoroughly enjoy that. Along the
But dude,
golf cart story, was it Sophie this time? She was I can't remember who it was, but the golf cart, the one that we had for the longest amount of time, that had been through some wear and tear over the years. And I can't remember. I know we had one family friend that was driving and then all of a sudden like had a freak out moment and like was going straight and they're like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And they just didn't put the brakes on. And they ended up, those in my folks' neighborhood along the side of the main road, some people put those stone markers to prevent
Yeah,
people from coming into the grass. Well, some person went like dead on straight, didn't brake, and just kept going, and it popped the golf cart up, ran right into one of those stone pavers.
I think that was Sophie.
But I thought the one that I'm thinking of with Sophie, she was the one that flipped the golf cart, like overturned it on its side
And just
because
to
she
let you
took a
know, Chase
turn.
and Brenna, Chase's sister, never hurt the golf cart once. We
No, we
visited, and
never
over
did.
the years, we put damage on that bad boy. And they were just
And
like,
it ran
"Hey,
like a champ after the fact
the
still.
Glicks are visiting. We're gonna have to get a new golf cart."
Yep.
It
You
was
can
good
buy
time.
me one for my neighborhood in North Lake. How about that? I
Do a
do
lot
need
of
to get
people
it.
have them, bro? You're
I
dropping
mean,
where you live you realize how many people listen to this?
oh, I've said North Lake previously in another episode.
It's not
They
how you
still
handle
haven't
business.
come to find me yet.
Oh, they have. They're just scouting you out.
Nice. But I think having a golf cart in my neighborhood would be sick. I think that'd be
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Oh,
Just imagine having grill outs, boys hop on the golf cart, have some drinks, cruising around the neighborhood, come
a
back.
cop is definitely going to listen to this, and he's going to be like, "All right, I know where
Probably.
my next DUI is coming from."
I'm in North Lake, Mississippi.
Oh, a little bait and switch, a little bait and switcheroo.
There's multiple North Lakes. Doesn't know which one.
There's also South Lakes. There's West Lakes. There's even Northeast Lakes. And sometimes they're just a lake with no relevance for direction. So
It's true. Sometimes it is what it is. Just take it at face value.
all
Sometimes a lake's just a lake.
it's just perspective based.
We don't need to identify it. It's
Yeah.
just it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, man, tell me a little bit about how you're feeling. Like, tell me a little bit about what's going through your mind as we got these results back. Because I'll tell you right now, as I ask you a question and start talking, I was nervous as heck. And I was so sure when we talked about that on the podcast last time, where Harris 57%, Trump something percent. I was just like, dude, that scared the crap out of me. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about where your mind's at.
I mean, going into it, and Keegan can attest to this, I felt confident the entire time leading up to the election. As polls were closing, results were coming in. I felt confident. So I felt good about it the entire time. Um, yeah, waking up. I mean, I went to bed around like midnight, maybe a little bit after. Went to sleep, and then I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, my gosh, I got to see what happened because
Right.
having some PTSD from 2020, how it just completely changed overnight. I was like,
Yep.
eh. I felt confident still, but I was like, surely there's no way they try this again. We're not going to get into the depths of that, but surely it won't flip this time because Trump was doing so well. But yeah, waking up this morning and seeing what happened, driving to work, we're talking on the phone, and it just felt like a different type of day. It felt like a lighter mood, like it felt good. The day felt good. It was like, in a sense, like a weight got lifted off in a way.
Yeah. And man, like everyone I'm not I'm not rich, but I don't do bad for a single guy who's not married that doesn't have people depending on him. In terms of what I make, I'm proud of myself. You know, it's all due to the glory of God, or I give God all the glory. But I always tell people if I made what I make now back in 2019, I would be very able to make a lot of it is, of course, due to my bad habits, due to me not being financially responsible, not budgeting correctly. I can fully admit that. But even with that, back in 2019, I would have had so much more buying power to make an actual move like that. And it's just one of those things where I always look back and I'm like, man, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm always not always beating myself up, but I'm just, you think about it.
Yeah.
And I remember gas being like 2.19 a gallon and all that stuff. And man, I'm just excited to have it back. And listen, I get that people are, immediately going to go, well, the tariffs and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, guys, there's no perfect situation. No one's a perfect candidate. No policy is perfect. There's going to be a little bit of the con with a little bit of the pros, no matter where you go. But
Yep.
overall, and I was talking to someone about this recently, and gosh, Chase, I told you about this. We're about to bring it back up again, though. But I was talking to someone about it recently and I was saying, hey, if you're a single issue voter, do you realize that neither side fully represents what you want from that issue? And it's more about a multitude of issues over an extended period of time that push things in one direction versus the other, that actually bring any of the change and any lasting change that either of us wants. And that's the thing is, I know that nothing's going to all of a sudden be perfect or fixed, and there's going to be problems and whatnot. But the overarching progress or the weight of that progress is now shifted in a direction where, whether you like it or not, your life is going to be better. Your money is going to go farther. And if at the end of the day you just don't like the president, but you still have a good job, your money's worth more, you're able to invest, buy a house, you're able to just take next steps in life. Listen, that's a win-win.
Not break even buying basic necessities.
Dude, I was talking to my grandmother last night and like we were talking about that there's nothing that is like, let's say you buy a side for a meal like asparagus or something like that. Almost nothing is under $5 right now.
Oh yeah.
And $5 extra tagged on to an already meal. It's just like we were talking, she was like, I can't leave the grocery store without spending $80. And I was like, Grandma, you were at the petting zoo. That wasn't even a grocery store. And no, she wasn't. I'm kidding. My grandma's very sane. She's super awesome. I love her so much. But yeah, even like for the basic things, like every time I go to the grocery store, I spend at least $50. So I'm just excited to, at least for the next 4 years, maybe we'll just all get uprooted, but at least for those 4 years, I'll be kind of back to where I was in 2019 in terms of opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if we're going to see the days of uber low interest rates like we did before
I don't think so.
2020, but it will get lower than what it is now. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I mean, just I was talking about this with some coworkers today.
You
There's
have a
a
job.
different tan. Yeah, I didn't tell you. I'm a bus driver now. Yeah,
I already
at
got
least
fired. I hit 3 kids.
at, at least on Monday and Tuesday, I get to drive the bus, so that's kind
Yeah.
of cool. Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. But what was I gonna say? I mean, there's so many issues that need to be fixed, obviously, that have popped up in the last 3.5 years. But I was sitting there asking, if you had to pick one single hot button issue, we were talking a bit about this earlier today too. What would be your number one? Number one's really difficult because there's a lot of things in play.
Yeah.
I'll give you
Top three.
top three. Yep.
Okay.
What are top three most important issues that you would like to see fixed on arguably day one or in the first couple months?
Well, this one, I'd say my biggest one actually, and this is not going to be so correlative to one thing that's affecting me directly, which is usually where people's answers come from on this. I want the abortion, whatever, or I want lower this, or it's something that directly affects them. What I
Yep.
would want as a big initiative for a long-term status is higher tariffs on every country that we trade with, forcing business back into the US and restarting the US as the world power. Not saying that we're not currently, but in the recent past, that has gotten closer than it ever has to being taken away through financial means. I very highly doubt through war, but if there was a war like that started, then it would take our ability to really have a really good GDP. It would throw a wrench in the gears without a doubt. So it wouldn't be good. But I want to see China specifically have to pay for all of the crap that they constantly do. Like if you watch Kevin O'Leary, who goes on news stations pretty regularly, and he's a business expert, so he'll talk about that to him. And he was like, and they're all trying to tell him about like how raising tariffs on China is going to make it more expensive for people here. And he's like, No one on this panel is doing business in China. I have 45 businesses in China. They steal, they cheat, they do every single thing that you wouldn't want them to do. They're never held accountable. They won't pay. And it's just like all of our proprietary information is copied and then
Yep.
resold back to us. And it's just like how our jobs have been shipped overseas, man. Our
Yep.
jobs have been outsourced for so long that we now no longer have these, like the steel industry or the textile industry or oil. We now no longer are the foundation of these. So it's one of those things where you're grabbing on a rope and the boat's pulling you in the water and you're like, hey, strong boat. I've got a strong grip. We're close to shore. Everything's going to be good. The moment that boat wants to cut that rope, you're back to the worst situation ever. You're in water. You can't stand. You got only a little bit of time before you drown. That's how
Yep.
the US is with trade at the moment. Are we okay? Yes. But in terms of if we keep going down this path of outsourcing all of our jobs, all of our production, then the US is going to be so much easier to take over economically, physically,
Yep.
emotionally. It's just going to be something that it's like a cancer of a hole that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And while it provides these benefits on the outside, the hole in the middle is something that's really just going to eventually be what we fall into. So, and I know
Yep.
that was a long answer for three of them, but I'll stick with that one just to, give you the floor as well. It's finally respecting America in terms of no, China, you can't just resell all of our goods to us and charge us a crazy high tax to sell in China, but we give you essentially free access here. No,
Right.
not at all. Like I am so sick of that. So I'm very excited to see them have to actually start to play ball versus just tell us what to do with the ball.
Yeah. 100%. Well, and it's too like taking control. I mean, we're the United States of America. There's a reason why we're the number one world superpower, right? But yet we are acting like, I mean, from a perspective of just bowing down and submitting to other countries, full knowing the issues that are there, but doing nothing about it. And
Yeah.
it's just like, why would we sit here and import certain resources and all that stuff when we're literally sitting on one of the largest deposits of natural gas, you know, in the entire world? And we choose not to drill because why? But we would rather, import more and more stuff from all these other countries when we could literally be self-sufficient and do it at a, relatively cheaper cost in a
Yeah.
sense. It might be a little more expensive, but at the same time, you open up again that Keystone pipeline. Like you wonder why gas is so expensive. You wonder why things are so expensive. Well, let's take a look. Here's one potential issue that we could easily fix,
Yeah.
have fixed and just reopen it. That's going to do wonders for economy just across the board. Resources, natural resources, whatever it might be. But instead, we choose to not do it ourselves and bow down to other countries to import product. I mean, we're very capable. And that's the one thing too. It's not like we're incapable of doing anything. We're
Yeah.
very capable. Our leaders are just choosing not to.
Well, you know
And
what it was, and I apologize. What were you going to say?
no, you can go ahead.
You know what well, not even what it was, where it started to taper off in terms of we really lost all of our proprietary value was after World War II.
Mm,
Because after World War II, that war is not good, obviously, but war for a capable that's country that's on the winning side is a massive economic boom. Everyone has to come together. People take time out of their days to put towards the effort to start making more metal, to start doing all these things that we need to supply the military to help us not get taken over by another country. It's
yeah.
unifying. It's amazing for the economy. And at the end of the day, it's a natural thing that ends up happening. So, it's just a matter of time before it happens again. I hate war. I don't want war, no matter how good it is for the economy. But I'm saying that after World War II, our steel industry was the strongest in the world because we had to make planes, ships, vehicles as quickly
Tanks.
as we
Yeah.
could, tanks, to get them out there on the battlefield. Because obviously, if we didn't, we were going to lose our advantage or whatever advantage we had. And that's why coming back to the US after 1945, people could come back and find a job. There
Yep.
was so many businesses started. There was so many what are now multi-billion dollar corporations started or worked on or that made it to their next level. And then over the past 70 years or however long it's been, we have just slowly chipped away at that and given it away because some person at the top of their company wanted a $500 million buyout to sell this company to China, where he's going to live great for the rest of his life. But no one is in those 500 people he employed aren't going to have the ability to, they're going to have to settle for lower wages because in
Yep.
China, they'll do it for $2 an hour. So it's just, we need to start if here's I guess what I'm saying at the end of the day, if you don't want it to be World War III that does it, which has the ability for it not to happen at all because of all the nuclear weapons, then we have to do it bit by bit, like we gave it away bit by bit. Then at least this is going to go in that direction, which is something that I'm passionate about.
Oh, absolutely. Really cool thing. Did you ever listen to the episode on Sean Ryan's show with Andrew Bustamante? By
I
chance, he
didn't
was
listen to the whole one, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
the ex-CIA
Yeah.
operative. They started talking about China and just how their whole thing is they steal proprietary software, hardware, intellectual property, everything, right? They
Hmm.
send people over to go to university, get employed by various companies, learn how something works, take all that knowledge, go back to China. Um, if we got to a point of getting into some sort of war, whatever that looked like with China, whether it's maybe not physical war per se, but it's more the invisible, a cyber war instead, that when it comes to the communication front. So post World War II, going into the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, our communication methods and abilities and outlets started to evolve naturally. As technology gets better, things change.
As we saw
And when
UFOs.
yes, we stole UFOs from aliens, so we're the China to them. But communication wise, the
We are the China to the aliens.
to the aliens. But when it comes to communication or just connectivity in general, the hardened fiber optic cables that we have, like physical communication lines, right?
Yeah.
Um Actual structural things that were laid down, or hardened infrastructure, right? Paved the way for us to get to the point of a 5G connection, 5G capability, everything's wireless, right?
Hmm.
Um, so as we progressed on that front of communication and connectivity from the physical hardware, from fiber optic to now where we are with 5G, China, on the other hand, and this is really cool. This is a segment from Andrew Bustamante. So our listeners highly recommend you go listen to it because it's absolutely fascinating. Sean Ryan show with Andrew Bustamante.
And Sean
But
Ryan, you better pay us for that plug.
yes, um, that'd be fantastic. But basically, Andrew was saying we have multiple versions and backups in a sense when it comes to 5G. And if 5G goes down, then we can bounce back to, hardened fiber optic, actual concrete infrastructure when it comes to communication and connectivity. China, on the other hand, because of their methodology of developing and advancing, they came over, learned 5G, all this stuff, the technology. They took it back there, 4G, 5G LTE, and developed it for themselves. They have 4G, 5G connectivity. But the one phase that they skipped was the actual concrete infrastructure. So they just piggybacked off of our progress, skipped the physical infrastructure, got enough knowledge to then develop their own 5G networks. So basically, if we ever got into a scuff with China, think about this. Even if they took down our network or we took down their network, they have nothing to fall back on. Versus we have physical infrastructure that we could fall back on if need be.
Here's the thing. I get what you're saying and I agree to a certain extent, but I think there's things on both sides because at the end of the day, there's people that are paid millions of dollars every year to figure this stuff out. There's people that actually look into this. And if you don't think China has people on their side going, hey, we don't have any infrastructure. If something goes down, this is going to be our biggest problem. It is definitely going to be a problem, but I guarantee you, just like we have, they have a backup, and both of sides really have big problems. I think our biggest problem is the fact that we have sold millions of acres of farmland next to military bases
Yep.
to China, allowing them to essentially put incels right next to where we would not need them if the worst were to happen. And for China, I think that they are built on a paper bridge. You know, the moment that that weight gets a little too much, it's going to cause some collapsation, if that's a word. But I just don't think. Here's the thing: China has had their 100-year plan for a long time in terms
50-year
of.
plan, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's 100, but either way, it's the point of it is over an extended period of time by chipping and chipping away. That's how they would want to fight the U.S., not in a direct hot war, because it's just not as worth it these days to go into that. And there's plenty of other reasons, but China, China has been working on this for a long time. And I really think that if we think, and I'm not saying you think this, that stuff were to go down, that we would just have a massive advantage. I think that's a very dangerous way to think because they are a world superpower. They do have hypersonic missiles. They do have nuclear weapons. They have way more people than we do. They're much more willing to sacrifice a lot of those things versus where we have values of holding it true. Just like when we fought Japan in World War II, the hardest thing about fighting Japan was the waves of people they would send into blatant gunfire, and they just wouldn't stop until they got through and killed the person shooting the gun. So the lack of morals, the amount of people, and the amount of strategy over a long period of time, I think is something that is extremely dangerous. And while in the long run, I think we'd come out on top, the initial scuffle between China and us, we would lose a bunch.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying we wouldn't lose
I
anything.
think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely not. And it all goes back to how strong your leadership is. Because when all the Chinese companies or shell companies were buying up land next to military bases, that happened under Biden.
It was
In all
happening
trend.
before. It's
Well,
not
but
even
it
gone.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's not anything that our president can really control because it's our trade laws that allow someone to come here and do that. And it's one of those things where if they come here and they buy the land and someone goes, "We're not selling you that land," they can legitimately hire a lawyer and win that case because that's the way our laws work. We have very open, everyone come here, everyone gets to play a part or have a little piece of it. You go do that in another country, they're like, hell no, dude, this is not happening. You're not touching this. So I just think our laws and the way that we've really tried to invite so many people here have really shot us in the foot in regards to people being able to do stuff like that. But yeah, under Biden, it definitely happened way more.
Well, but ultimately, too, those laws were created by leadership. And it's like at a certain point, that leadership needs to step up, regardless of whatever it's been in the past, to have strong leadership in the future to realize, maybe this isn't a good idea. We need to change this.
Yeah.
We need to do something about it because we can't buy land in China. So why the heck would we, be allowing them to buy land going forward? To me,
Yeah, that kills me.
that doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
So what I'm saying is strong leadership, especially now more than ever going forward, to start cracking down on some stuff that's just been dealt with, been a thing, swept under the rug. When some people question, it's like, don't worry about it. Whatever the mentality is, stuff needs to change. And I think now we're at a point to where stuff is going to change.
Yeah.
I mean, so much so, I don't know if you heard about it, but Benjamin Netanyahu, called Trump to congratulate him on winning the election. And during their phone call, evidently, the current war, out of the one or two that are currently going on between Israel and Gaza, um, Trump basically told Netanyahu he wants the war over by the time he enters office in January.
Ooh,
So,
where did I
kind of
see
feeding
this?
into
Where did
what
you
we were
see
talking
this? Where did you see
talking
this?
about earlier, It's from an article called The Time, I mean, from a website, The Times of Israel. And you can just Google it too.
Bring it up.
Okay.
And I'm not just for anyone listening, I'm not accusing Chase of misinformation or anything of the sort, but
He
I
definitely
am
is.
just I take well, I think Chase is a blatant racist, and any opportunity he gets, he throws that like a freaking
Mm,
fastball in the MLB, you know, the MLB.
the MLB.
MLB, you know me. Um,
Can you see it?
not sharing on I mean, I think the connection's pretty bad because I can only see the corner of it. Try resharing it. You sharing it yet? Now you're sharing us. There we go. Trump told Netanyahu wants Gaza war over by the time he enters office. Hmm. Go down a little bit.
Oh, dude, this must have been. Wait a minute. This is interesting. I don't know if you're reading the entire article or not. I'm just kind
No,
of
no, I
scrolling.
apologize. I thought you were about to say something.
No.
But no, the only reason I had said that was just that, I mean, now is the time to be as, not that it ever hasn't been, but now is the time to be as diligent as you can about misinformation
Yeah.
because everything's going to come out to try to smear Trump. Everything's going to, I really don't think there's going to be as much from the Republican side because they kind of got what they wanted. They have the House and the Senate, which is blatantly insane
Well,
to
we don't have the
overthrow.
House quite yet. I
Oh,
think
we don't.
it's still going, but indication is it's looking good for Republicans.
And actually, to your point earlier, that's definitely one of the things that I would put on my top three list that I want to see or that I'm excited about. I really, 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 and I'm going to hold Trump to this. And if he doesn't do it, I'm going to be pissed because he talked it up so much. If he doesn't actually end the Ukraine wars as soon as he did, I'm going to
Yeah.
be like livid because I'm going to be like, that is, at the end of the day, man, I don't like everyone's like, yeah, Russia's bad 100%. They don't have our best interests in mind. Ukraine has been corrupt for a long time before it was ever in this situation, just as bad as Russia. But at the end of the day, these are fathers and sons out there getting shot in the head, blown up for no reason. It is just, and there is a reason. Obviously, you're defending the sovereignty and integrity of another country, but to the point of this long and dragging it out like this and just constantly dumping gas on the fire in the form of money and expecting that to come to a conclusion. I'm just like,
Yeah.
so many generations of young men are being murdered for no reason. It just doesn't need to happen. And it's like, that is so sad because war is really cool. And not that I've ever been, but from the people who have been, the idea of it, how good you are, all those things are really cool until you're in a real firefight and you see someone die.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I
The
don't want
glory
any
of
part of
war
this at
goes out
all.
the window. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't in any way, shape, or form want either of those countries to have to keep losing young men because that's just it's not fair to them to fight the battle of someone older than them that came from a time they didn't come from.
Yeah. And on that perspective, interesting to think about, and it goes back to leadership, in my opinion, that when all this kicked off, what was it, back in 2022, early 2022,
I think so, yeah.
that all we've done is fed money into the entire thing.
Just
Money, more money,
exacerbated it.
more money, more weapons, more, ammunition, more all this stuff. Where's been the actual call from the United States to step in to try to figure things out?
No, man, there hasn't been one.
There
And
hasn't been. And that all goes back to we need strong leadership going forward. And I think, you know, with Trump getting elected, that's going to change very, very quick. Because
yeah,
this whole thing, as everyone knows, never would have happened under Trump, ever.
No. You know what was one of
Neither.
my
I mean,
favorite moments in history? And go on, I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say Putin would have never ever done what he did or attempted to do what he's done under Trump or when Trump was on what as Trump was president.
One of my favorite moments in history was Trump's last term when I forget the guy's name, but he gassed his own citizens. So Trump from a
Oh,
warship launched 12
yeah.
Tomahawk missiles, and it was just like, don't think I won't do it again.
I'm blanking on that guy's name.
Hassan, it's
Hassan? Assad.
Hassan,
Assad.
Assad, that was his name.
Assad, dude.
I think it was Assad Hassan. They have
Assad.
creative names over there. What's up, Assad Hassan? I'm Hassan Assad. Assad, huh?
Yeah, it was Assad, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure, but I just said yeah really loud because I was, trying to act like I had a good memory and you confirmed it.
Was it Syria?
It was.
Yeah. Bashar al-Assad? No, that's the president of Syria.
Yeah, it was him
Is he
because that was
dead?
that was the point. It was he was the guy who did it.
He's still alive.
Not for long, sir.
It says presidential term, July 17th, 2000 to a dash, which means he's currently still active.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Well, I mean that we did. I don't think there was ever a outside of, it might be in our interest, but there wasn't. We're not going to do a direct
Yeah,
coup and put someone
assassination or
out,
anything.
like so. I
Yeah.
mean, makes sense. He's still in power, but in terms of him having to definitely be like, oh crap, I can't actually do whatever the heck I want because 12 Tomahawk missiles just nailed one of my air bases. And my gosh, man, there's nothing I love more than the U.S. military flexing those muscles a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen a video of
Yeah.
them doing a show of force in like Afghanistan and whatnot?
Yeah.
They'll
The
just fly,
flyovers and yeah.
yeah, like a F-35. They'll fly at like 100 feet off the ground, and you just watch like every bit of dust and almost the roofs just go like,
Yeah. Yeah, the video of like the Taliban or whatever in that little Humvee with the big 50 on the back. All of a
mm-hmm.
sudden you see an F-16 come in and like do a smoke show right over the top of and they're like, oh my gosh.
Well, not a good
And
time. We need to
n-
go home.
let's not do this anymore.
I don't want to be in the Taliban
I think
anymore.
I'll go home now.
I want to do art and drama in college.
I want to be in the theater.
Imagine like making a movie about, how like have you ever seen that movie Cinderella Boy? It's with
Cinderella boy.
yeah, it's with who's the guy who plays Gladiator? Mark
Oh,
what's his
Cinderella man.
Cinderella
Russell
Man.
Crowe. Yeah, where
Russell
he's the
Crowe.
boxer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, anybody wants to do ballet because he's gay. Either way,
Wow. Wow.
gay means happy. That's the literal definition of the word, and I'm trying to
I
change it back, and you guys are trying to make it something else. So stop.
I remember last week, I think it was just last week, we were talking about Warhammer and my one of my I guess favorite chapters because we're both learning about Warhammer. It's a very extensive universe and there's a lot to know.
Very
But
excited about it.
we were looking up like, oh, this chapter is pretty cool. And the one I stumbled on was the Carcharodons and they're space sharks and they're pretty freaking cool. But Chat GPT or whatever described them as like aggressive something and flamboyant attacks. And Keegan's like, I was like, well, that's kind of
Gay?
lame. Dang. That's
Hold on.
kind of, but then we actually looked up the definition and it was like, it made more sense.
Context is key. Context is very key. So, like Chase said, we've been getting very into Warhammer. You guys have heard us talk about it, and Warhammer just has so many books and so much history that there's so much to get into that you really can have kind of your own experience and like your own faction or chapter or whatever
Chapter.
it is.
Yep.
And it's really cool because it's not just a cut and dry fit mold that everyone's like, oh, I played this game and that's all it is. So we've been researching these different chapters to see like who we would want to be if we were a space marine because we're 31 and we still think like that, or
Or who we want to actually portray in the video game that came out
exactly
like a month
who
and a
we
half
want to
ago.
make our guy look like on the game actual game. And of course, we're going to get competitive about it. So I pick one because I had started diving into the lore a little bit earlier because I got the game first. And one of my favorite chapters is the Black Templars, or I call them the Black Knight Templars. It's not the legitimate
It's
name.
wrong. It's wrong.
You're wrong. I'm not going to deal
Oh,
with you
I'm right.
anymore. Never interrupt me again.
Never again.
But yeah, so I was just like, of course, Chase brings up the Carcharodons, and they are this group of space marines that they will essentially teleport to another ship in what's called the Void and just do a surprise attack on them. Or I'm probably saying it wrong, but
They
surprise attack
actually
is their big
they
thing.
live on a deep spaceship that roams around on the edge of deep space in the
Okay,
void.
so whenever they
Yeah.
find
Get
someone,
it right. Just quit talking about my chapter, man.
okay, I'm
Like
about to talk
you're
about
not
your
even a
flamboyant
Carcardon.
ass chapter. Hold on.
They're
Um,
aggressive and they're cool.
so they're super cool and they dress great.
I'm super serial, you guys.
The color coordinates better than any other chapter, and you
It's
know that.
gray.
But I was just like, long story short, I was like, who would win in a fight, the Black Templars or the Carcharodons? And I look it up on Chat GPT, and of course, it start like I immediately start reading it. I'm like, whoa, the Black Templars would kill you guys. And then as I'm reading through, it's like in this situation, the Black Templars would definitely win. But if they didn't have that, then the Carcharodons would do they might win. And it was
It's
very
very
neutral.
politically correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was like it really gave no one any credit. But the funniest part was like the Carcharodons being known for their more flamboyant fighting style. It was just like, ha, that's the one you like.
You would.
I like ones that identify with Black Lives Matter.
The Black Knight
Black Knights
Templars.
matter.
But yeah, it's fun. We enjoy it.
Oh, we started the podcast early tonight so we could play some Warhammer afterwards, which is not excited to do that. So you want to say
Yeah,
no?
it's kind of lame. I actually deleted the game.
If you really did that, I'd be upset, even though you could
I would be
redownload it.
upset at myself after the amount of time I've put in. I'm over halfway through to max rank as of now, unless they increase the level cap, which I really hope they do. But dang, it's fun. It's fun. I
Just
like
to
it.
give you guys a go. What are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. But give you guys a little context for that. There's this really funny video online of a blind kid. Bad way to start it, but it's hilarious. And he's reading a Braille Playboy, and it's just him sitting. No, it's like this is 1970s first Braille Playboy. And again, I don't think he's actually blind. And he has like dark glasses on. He has his hands right here, and he goes, "Damn," which was just hands down, conceptually a very funny thing. But
Yes, internet wins.
internet wins every time. But I was watching a little bit of the Sean Ryan show. You know what he gave someone a gift as?
A sig.
Yes. And I was
Yeah,
just like, gosh, dang it. I might buy that gun just because you have it.
the fuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I haven't. I'm not even gonna say it because I'm gonna get called out. But it's okay because I've been calling myself out. I haven't even shot it yet. I've had it for like
I haven't shot
2 months.
the AR.
That's right. I almost forgot you bought that.
Yeah. I more of just show it to people. I'm just like, what's
Do
up,
you
guys?
see this? This is not a toy.
Here, touch the trigger. It's not loaded.
Maybe. I don't know.
Hold on, we'll find out.
Just kidding. We're way more responsible than that, audience.
Yeah, I would never
Yeah.
on a
We
day
are
that ends.
we're we're very attuned to firearms
Attune.
and
We're very attuned.
attuned.
I think it's just in tune.
No.
Are you sure? Let's look. Come on, let's look it up.
Attune. Make receptive or aware.
Hold on.
Accustom or acclimatize.
Okay,
Make
you're right. We're very attuned. Past
Yep.
tense, past principle. A society more attuned to consumerism than
Yep.
ideology. All right. Well, there we
100%.
go. You racist little tot.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to broaden your dictionary, you know?
Broaden my what?
A as in pineapple. I mean,
P as an apple.
that's funny.
It is
Shout
funny.
out to Kingpin because there's a did Zach show you his contact info for you?
No, what is it?
Text him,
Is it,
and ask
is it
him.
low T?
It's so funny.
What is it?
No, it's you got to text him.
I'm not texting him.
He's gonna fine. You want me to text him?
Yes, I'm not
Why
doing it.
can't you just text him?
Because
Jeez.
you won't just tell me right here.
Because it's funny. You have
Yeah,
to
it's
see
still
the
going to be funny no
screenshot.
matter
You
what.
still have to see the
I
screenshot.
can't, it's not even something I can see. It's something I'd have to be there to see. I'm not going to
He can
text
send
him
you a
to have him tell
screenshot
me.
of your call card.
Why does that even matter? Why can't you just tell me? It's still going to be funny.
No, it's not. I'm gonna text him right now.
I'm not texting him.
I wonder if
God's honest truth. I'm not even going to look at my phone. I'm not going to respond to it.
wow. I'm gonna screen share it for the whole podcast to see then.
I hope you get hacked.
Let me see.
I hope you go through identity theft again.
Wow, that's slow.
That was mean.
That was really mean.
Chase
I
actually
mean,
found out that identity theft is not a joke. We brought that up before, but then he told the whole story for like 20 minutes
yeah.
and then it didn't record right.
I was slightly upset. I could tell that again sometime, but I'm just like, I don't really want to. I don't want to.
Oh, I thought we were waiting on you to send that message or whatever. But either way,
I'm texting
I
him
don't
right
know
now.
what it is. It'd be great if you just told the podcast because we're on the podcast and there's like it's actually like what they would want to hear as well. And if Zach doesn't text back, it's just not going to happen and be a pointless sketch on the podcast.
Sent.
Oh my gosh. This is adding so much unnecessary time, whereas you could just say it.
Nah.
I don't even know what are you even asking him to do?
Send a screenshot of your name and his phone.
I'm not looking at my phone.
You don't have to.
I'm not going to.
You don't have to.
I'm
I'll share
aware.
it.
That's why I'm making the choice not to.
Uh-huh.
Because it's so ridiculous that you can't just say it out loud. It's not
It's
like a
funny.
it's still gonna be funny no matter what.
See, this is like the perspective of like, just tell me how the movie ends, dude. I'm still
Yes,
gonna be
I get it,
surprised.
but
It's still gonna be good. No,
that's
it's
not.
not.
No, because it's different. Because this is a name that someone gave me in their phone, not the ending of a movie I've been waiting for 6 years.
You'll get there.
I doubt it. Has he texted back yet? Probably not. Nope, he hasn't,
He
has he?
did. No, he
Oh
just
yeah,
did.
oh yeah. What'd he say?
He said, you just want like the contact card? There he is. Oh, he must have changed it back. That's lame.
All this time just for that.
Part of your name is A as in pineapple. And then
That was it.
and it was Lil T. And
That
it
was
has
the
a
whole
picture
thing.
of you snowboarding. It's very
I
funny.
wasn't snowboarding. I
Uh
had a snowboard. I wasn't snowboarding. We
and
snowboarded that day, but I know what picture you're talking about.
okay. Oh, hi, Saber.
I was standing with my snowboard looking as cool as possible.
Yeah,
what are you doing now?
I'm responding to him.
You
Um, it's funny. I thought it was funny. Oh, do you want to know what our poll's at from last
Our
week?
poll?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened?
How I posed, are you people liking the low T stuff? And not many people have voted on it, but 3 people have said yes.
Then the low T sticks.
The low T stays.
LTS
Dang.
stays.
Oh, revisiting the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce nickname war that we had.
Yeah.
Trailer won pretty significantly, 83% to 17%.
What was the other one?
Tavis, their actual celebrity nickname,
Trailer's better.
Trailer's way better.
Hands
So yeah,
down. Hands up.
and
Don't shoot.
generally, wow, that was very politically charged and offensive, but that's fine.
Straight up like the gate up, son.
Straight up, boy. But yeah,
Straight up the street.
trailer dominated like Trump in the election.
Oh, sorry.
Jeez.
Oh, don't get us started.
Yeah, we're gonna quit that before we get too far down the road.
Yeah, we're gonna lose all our followers. Did we gain another follower back?
We did. We're back
We
at
did?
21.
Nice.
We're
I
back
thought
at
it was
21.
18.
No, we were at 21, and then someone unfollowed, and then someone else refollowed or newly followed.
Nice. Guys, we're trying to promote some interaction. So you give us one suggestion within legal boundaries, we'll do it on the podcast.
Yes, I agree.
Within legal boundaries. My
And
totally
comment.
legal. Huh? Yeah, you have to comment.
Air quotes, legal boundaries.
Get it? We're gonna do stuff that's actually not legal. It's a great thing.
But yeah, we definitely want to get you guys involved more. We know a lot of our listeners that do listen are consistent. And we know you're listening to this. So just comment. Be like, yo, dog, you guys should do this. And then we'll be like, we'll think about it. And then we'll probably end up doing it.
And then we'll be like, who are you? Why are you contacting us? And stop. We're
Yeah.
married. And we're not
To
gonna
the
do
game.
anything with another couple.
To the game.
No, to each other.
Oh, you're right. Shoot, I messed that up again. Crap.
Common law, son. Common law married.
You.
I could totally sue you if you start dating someone for cheating. You can't sue someone for cheating, but if I see someone in your life, I'm gonna be like, I want half of your stuff right now.
Well, don't worry. The past couple girlfriends, they just don't stick around long enough.
Well, here's a good one to end it on because I know we're getting right at the hour, but I was saying this earlier. So this bothers me so much, so much. And if you are
Are
this
we,
type of
hold on,
person,
before you do this, are we rehashing part of what we talked about in
no, we're
episode
not.
one?
This is a specific situation that has nothing to do with dating apps. It's not. It's just a
No, not
situation.
dating apps, like what we talked about in episode one that hasn't been aired.
Are we rehashing what dating?
Yeah, one particular thing. When
I don't
people make
know.
up excuses.
No. This wasn't an excuse. This was legitimate. This was like, but that's what makes it even worse. Is I was in Arkansas this past weekend with my little
Oh,
sister who
yeah.
graduated from Arkansas. She's now in graduate school at Arkansas. Good for her, smartest one in the family. And I have recently just given up on women. I'm dating Chase, and it's a good time. No,
It's
but
about time he realized it.
yeah, I mean, I made it official.
Took him a while to get there, but he got there.
We both got there. I can guarantee you that. But that's you took it there. I wasn't even meaning that. I was talking about like taxes. You know.
No, that was a gag, but whatever.
Yeah. Either way, we're not gay. I'm not gay. Promise.
Also,
So
another famous tagline from Keegan.
you guys might hear it in the future because really I'm not. Don't accuse me if you've heard it. Hear it here that I'm not. I swear it. But we were at a bar in downtown Arkansas on Dixon Street. The bar was called 21st Bar. Very popular for the college kids. And listen, I was already in a college town. I'm 31 years old. I was just like, listen, I'm not about to, I'm with my little sister and my other sister and her boyfriend. We're having a good time. That's what we're here for. And I've already gotten to this point where I really just started giving up. And I was just like, you know what? If God wants me to have something, it will fall into my lap and I won't be able to deny it. I'm done looking. So we're at this bar and I'm sitting there talking with some friends and this girl just starts staring at me. To me, that's the most worst thing. If you make eye contact with me, I'm like, oh, she wants to marry me. Let's go embarrass myself and try to ask for a number while her boyfriend's right there or something, because she made fleeting eye contact. And I was just like, you know what? I'm whatever. And I looked away. I looked back up. She's staring me dead in the eyes. I was like, all right, this is weird. I looked back up. Found out she's blind. I'm kidding. But staring me dead in the eyes. And eventually I just go give a little wave like, hey, And she comes over to me and starts laughing and talking with me. One of the first questions she asked me, man, was, "Who are you voting for?" And it
Oh,
was just like, just for the sake of it happening, I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll get into this conversation with you. I told her I was voting for Trump. And then she immediately was like, oh my gosh, started talking about abortion, all this stuff, how bad it was. But of course, I'm looking at this like a dumb person, and I look right by all this stuff. I'm like, I'll take you out for coffee tomorrow. And we go out for coffee the next day. And then the day after that was the day I left, and we were talking, and she was like, you know what? I actually can't continue with someone that's voting against my bodily autonomy. And I was
very nice
just like,
Valley Girl
yeah, it was pretty much exactly
impersonation.
that. And I
Yeah.
was like, listen, at the end of the day, that might have been something that kept us from being together 100%. But I think it is so stupid. And I think it is so hypocritical. And I think it is the wrong way in every way, shape, and form to interact with people to lead with your opinions first. You do have the ability to get to know someone outside of their opinions and then understand their opinions because you understand where they're coming from versus just disagreeing with them. And that I can't stand people like that because it's just one of those things where it's like, if that's how you're going to live your life, surrounding yourself with an echo chamber of your own thoughts, you won't grow. You'll never be challenged. And you're really just half-assing it as a person. And that stuff kills me. And I would never look at someone, and I'm glad it didn't work out because at the end of the day, if that's the way that person acts, that would have manifested itself in a thousand horrible ways down the road. But I
Yep.
would never look at someone and go immediately because of what you believe. I can't even fathom like continuing anything with you because I would first seek, hey, where did that come from? Was it from your childhood? Did you have an experience that was a really bad experience that made that? Maybe it's something that can be sorted through, and maybe you just have come to it in a bad way. But even like, you got to give people a chance to learn about them first. And again, if you lead with what do you believe, and if I disagree with you, then I don't like you. I'm just
Yep.
like, you really are the problem. You really are the antithesis of society.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. And
Yeah.
extrapolate that into multiple situations with today's society.
I hope she listens to this.
Did you send it? You should send it to
Oh yeah, I show everyone the podcast.
her. Nice. Well, whenever I get this episode uploaded,
I need to stop throwing up gang signs because people are gonna call me out on that.
that's North Lake Mafia.
Not according to the Crips. I just learned this when I was in
Just
eighth
kidding.
grade. I learned this, and it was like, now my fingers, I can't even control it. I take a picture, I'm like,
What up, boy?
what up, my guy? But yeah, sorry, guy. And I'm not sorry. I just wanted to end you guys with a good story about, my failing dating
Dating,
life.
modern dating.
Yeah, 100%. And guess what? We're gonna rehash what we talked about on the first episode.
We should, we
I'm not
should,
even,
we should redo it.
and know who I'm
Because the
sending
first
it
one was
to?
good practice. Like that, I don't even want to like re-upload the first one just because
No,
that
it was
that was choppy. It was
bad
practice.
audio.
Yeah, bad audio. We're in a much better place now.
Yeah,
So,
100%. But um
well, that's probably a good place to wrap up, and we'll talk about some dating maybe next time.
oh
Let's
boy,
get juicy.
about to get so juicy. Call us the orange slice. You're gonna be squeezing juice all up in this thing.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. Yeah,
But
boy.
well, cool. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode. We appreciate it as always. I know we say that every single episode, but we are truly thankful for all those
Really.
that tune in. And please share this with someone, just one person. That is our challenge to you this week because we're holding each other accountable, you know?
And we don't
And
even know how to count,
exactly.
but we're doing it.
But we're trying. And therefore, we want you to try to share it with someone. So,
Yeah.
personal
I agree
challenge.
with everything Chase says because he is my hubby, he is my man, my flame,
He's
my
my
muse.
beau.
And I will fight for him. So don't even try. But all said that aside, that's a joke. Totally not gay. Please share this with someone else, and we would really appreciate it. And Chase, I got an invitation for you if you want to be crazy. You want to go play some Warhammer.
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 Schletzenskog.
It's like some Viking mentality.
I feel like
Some
German.
Warhammer. You got a what?
Some German is what you're actually looking for.
Viking. But
yeah, anyways,
well,
my
as
dog
yes,
is eating my other dog's food, so I got to run over there and tell him to stop. But
nice.
I
Yep,
love all of you. And thank you all again for tuning in. This has honestly become one of the coolest things we do in our day to day. I really look forward to this every week. I don't care about 21 followers. I just care about people thinking anything we have to say is interesting. So thank y'all.
Every revolution starts small.
Yeah, I agree. Whatever.
And we're a revolution, and we're small right now, but
5 inches is pretty big, right?
whoa. All right, everybody, have an awesome week. We shall see you on next week's episode.
I meant by distance. What? Here we go.
Woodheim.
Something. All right, see you guys.
Bye.